Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to our series on work. This, of course, is With Purpose, and I am still Ben Hutton. I don't think that's going to change. The podcast might change. I don't know, someday. But we're doing this. We've been doing it every week, and we've got another week for you. Of course, we're right in the middle of our series on work, like I said, and we've talked about hummingbirds and hard work. We talked about toil and the difference between toil and hard work. And this week we are talking about hustle culture. It's probably a term a lot of you are familiar with. I'm sure you've seen the outcome from it, whether you're familiar with the vocabulary of it online, in the news, and your favorite business book. Like this mentality is showing up everywhere in our society right now, and I think it's pretty dangerous and bad. Why do I think that? Because I think we're mixing up how we should be measuring work. Instead of measuring the outcome, instead of measuring what we have accomplished or what we are trying to accomplish, we are instead measuring the input. We are measuring the work, and we are judging the work by how much we work. And so this shows up in people talking about how many hours they log or how many days they've been on the grind in a row, how many emails they sent. We talk about how tired we are and how exhausted we are and how full our calendar is, and we are glorifying this idea that just working is the point, or that by working we believe we're going to get to the end, and that all it takes to get to the end is more work. And so we celebrate the hustle. So the natural thing that has developed from this, interestingly, is like this also anti-hustle culture. Where it's saying like, that's not the point at all, which is kind of true. But I think that group is actually going too far by saying that hard work isn't necessary, which we know is not true. The hummingbirds taught us that. And we know that sometimes hard work is just what it takes. And so like, don't hear me saying I don't think hard work or work is a good thing in this episode. I believe it is. What I am saying, though, is I think we are celebrating the wrong thing when we celebrate the work itself. Instead, we should be celebrating the outcome, right? So we should be celebrating the goals of why we work or the accomplishments that we have from that work. Because whether that takes us 2 hours or 8, 17 steps or 2, we should be glad to get it done. And be glad about that part, not the effort that it took to get there. You know, the other thing that I think that is dangerous about hustle culture and the direction it's taking the discourse around work is that it is discounting the value of thinking and rest and stillness, which is actually where I think a lot of breakthroughs come from. Right? I don't know how many times I've answered my hardest questions when I'm on a walk or in the shower. And we've actually talked about this here. When we glorify the work, when we fall into this trap of hustle culture, we crowd out the opportunity to have time to rest and renew ourselves. We crowd out this idea that we should schedule an hour-and-a-half block on our calendar to read something new, to be inspired by something, to just think. Work is good. Hard work is great. Sometimes we do just need to grind on something for a day because we know how much work is ahead of us and we just need to get it done. But doing all of this in a way that crowds out the rest and renewal or time for fueling, like the hummingbirds, we talked about have to fuel so they can do that hard work. It's dangerous, I think, and it discounts the value of those things, and it prevents us from seeing the benefits of them by keeping us focused on the grind. So that's my thoughts on hustle culture. What are yours? I'd love to have a conversation down in the comments below. I think this is a little bit of a contrarian take from what a lot of business gurus are espousing or preaching in the world today. And so I'm sure some of you might not be on the same page as me. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it in the comments. Okay, planning our week ahead, though, is something that we also do every week here on With Purpose, and this one is no different. I do think all of us have really full calendars, whether we do that because of hustle culture and that's what we're celebrating, or because we just have a lot of things we care about and we're trying to fit it all in. Our calendars are all full. And so we want to make sure that we are filling them with the things that we think are important and prioritizing the things that matter most to us in life. So that's why we do this planning here every week on With Purpose. And every week we start with a question about gratitude. What are you grateful for this week? Second question is always, are there things you're putting off? This week I have been putting off a couple things. Actually, I've been putting off this one particular thing for like 3 weeks. I've written it down 3 weeks in a row and I just haven't done it. Not proud of it, but sometimes that happens. This week, I'm going to commit to it. What are things you need to commit to getting done? Okay, 2 questions today. First one's a little bit open-ended. What do you think about this whole hustle culture thing? Think it's good? Think it's bad? Second question, how do you think this is impacting the overall business environment in our country right now? 2 big questions this week. What do you think about hustle culture? And how do you think it is impacting the business environment in the United States right now? Personally, I think it's negative. But I am curious about your take. Well, I'll have more to say next week as we wrap up our 4-part series on work. I've actually got a poem to share. It's a good one. I think you'll like it. We'll see you there.